To briefly reiterate for all presently watching, we will be beginning in roughly 19 minutes now. 58 will be in attendance, so expect some awkward AI commentary. Unfortunately, I couldn't seem to convince her to wear anything other than an anime robot avatar. Apologies to anyone that may chafe in advance. I assure you, no one is more chafed than I. Greetings thus far to K-Shoal, Snubius 100, Bishop, the Haven the Hand. And that seems about our present. Please remember to like, subscribe, and ring the bell, and then advertise. Or whatever actually gets results these days. I don't know. If you are watching on X, you're quite possibly the first. Support appreciated. If you are watching you're an elite company and thoroughly appreciated. If you weren't already aware, we'll be raffling off a game called Yahoo Books Dungeon Master, as provided by One Exodus. It is a dungeon management sim. Not that kind, Snoopy, but tongue-in-cheek fantasy variety, and I will be entering the raffle for it myself. There's also the last key we'll be raffling off for who knows how long. Just noting. Some astute residents of the Arcalab's Volunteer Reserve Discord server may have noticed I'm live in the Live with the Director voice chat channel. If there is a SCP enthusiast who would like to pop on to, I don't know, read some line of something somewhere, trade off some paragraphs, or otherwise just, hang out, verbally comment on the SCP at the end of the SCP file, provided your audio is remotely tolerable, this can be arranged. But it is not expected. No obligations. The only one who has to be on call is me, N58, who is ostensibly enthusiastic about it. Ostensibly. Additionally, SCP-106 was requested by 58, or rather suggested. As you've been joined by Nexus Hunter, and 10 minutes remain until the stream begins. Random change of plans, we're starting early. Greetings everyone, and welcome to the SCP review, which we'll be getting into momentarily. I'm feeling especially contradictory today, ergo, we have just begun, even though that dramatically violates my traditions. One of the reasons being is that I have an announcement. First off, due to a surprise scheduling conflict, there will be no experiment tomorrow. So, maybe we'll do a bit of that today. Why not? At the end of the SCP review, might play a song or two. Maybe, but we'll see. I don't intend to do 2 hours in any case, or go into anything I would say on the experiment which might potentially require deletion. First, though, this is awkward and unpleasant.
Director Arcata here, and joining me as co-host today is 58, an experimental AI assistant currently tolerating my presence. Director Arcata will be guiding the conversation on our exploration of the fascinating world of SCP-106. He'll be providing context insights and occasional witty remarks to keep the discussion engaging. And now, without further ado, welcome dear viewers to another thrilling episode of Beyond the Veil. We're about to delve into the unsettling realm of anomalous objects, and I'm excited to share this experience with you all. Please be advised that the content we'll be discussing may be disturbing, so viewer discretion is advised. Let's proceed with caution. Or not. 58 will guide us through this exploration.
I will be guiding people through this exploration. Thank you very much, 58. And you are not the director. I am. I feel you might have gone a bit confused there. Finally, it's not called Beyond the Veil. We have never called this stream Beyond the Veil. Oh well. She has nothing to say for herself, and that's probably for the best. I hope you're all doing well. I am inclined to think that the general state of the world is improving. Not quite as fast as one hopes. Certainly it feels like that whole Epstein client release thing was another fake out so far, with their staggered release self-admittedly being everything everyone knows already. So things, I presume, like Bill Clinton having enough frequent flyer miles to tour the Earth 3 times, should have already been very much out there. As for cup supply, when we're talking about chassis, SCP-100, if you want to take the measurements, I can send you pics, but there's nothing particularly exciting about that, as it's a chassis. Unless you're a bender, there's really not much there. Right. This coming week it is supposed to be out. So they say. So they say. At this point, I don't believe anything in time seeing it properly. Well, again, to reiterate, we are raffling off Nullbrook's Dungeon Master. A dungeon sim where instead of having a dungeon that is buried in the earth, it is in fact a tower. It also apparently offers a tavern sim with it to better fund the dungeon tower. I have to say that's a bit of a novel twist. Typically you're uniformly antagonistic, but that we should be raffling off this game at this time, just after the last side quest where they inherited a dungeon. It seems almost providential. Plus, I was very proud of myself for arranging a death trap dungeon set for Arcturus. I'm the reason it crushed him at the end, and there's nothing you can do about it. Oh yes, rest assured, SCP-106, I'm not taking any offense. My skin remains as thick as ever. Although I do seem to be sensitive to potential 58ing. Oh, the game we're raffling off. If you should be interested in joining the raffle for it, please do let me know in chat. Do tag me. I will make a point of checking every chat I have access to before we raffle it off. I don't think we need to agonize too much because, well, there really isn't that much competition typically, and I don't think anyone has been watching the stream just in the off chance. One day, I will be raffling off Notebook's Dungeon Master, at which point, that finally jump in to join the raffle for the first time, only for me to miss it. And then award the game to someone else or myself, because I am rolling for this one. Next hunter is in. I will enter the raffle last, and the same rules apply. I will be rolling twice. But yeah, I think this will be a fun one. Are you there, 58? Are you there? Are you there? Are you there? Are you there? Damn it, 58, are you there? Are you there? Okay, well, apparently 58 isn't receiving audio input right now, which is a bit vexing. What can you tell us about SCP-106?
SCP-106 is an anomalous entity that appears to be a humanoid figure with a severe mental disorder, specifically schizophrenia. It has the ability to manipulate its physical appearance, voice, and even the perceptions of those around it. However, what makes SCP-106 particularly fascinating is its capacity for emotional manipulation, often using guilt, shame, or self-pity to influence individuals into doing its bidding. Director, I must note that this entity's behavior can be quite disconcerting even for a seasoned observer like myself. The way it exploits human vulnerabilities, often to an unsettling degree, makes for a truly unnerving experience.
For the record, if you didn't already know, that was wrong in every way imaginable. Weird. Moving on, SCP-106, the actual file, and by the way, I particularly resented 58 putting out warnings. Look, if one of my readings in SP file is too triggering for anyone here, then, well, they wouldn't be here for one, and also don't seem very long for this world at all, because we're not exactly war veterans here. We haven't, I'm guessing in most cases, but not all, seen that many people die. Yet, I'm willing to bet we're all thick enough skin-wise not to be spooked by the spooky file here. If I'm never giving warnings unless we're talking something real world and it's particularly nasty, like the one asshole named Alice who recently stabbed his kids, and then the Canadians just tried to make the news media not report on it because, of course, they're a degen child stabber. Well, it's not really the group that I would think a government should be protecting, but I digress. This is what would have probably been on the experiment if there were going to be an experiment. Let me focus on the SCP file. SCP-106. SCP-106. Special containment procedures have been revised twice. We have 2 revisions. I suppose we'll go through those first before we get to what they're actually doing. No physical interaction with SCP-106 is allowed at any time. All physical interaction must be approved by no less than a 2/3 vote from O5 Command and may only extend to testing situations. All staff, research, security, class D, etc. are to remain at least 20 meters away from the containment cell at all times, except for mandated maintenance and reevaluation checks. Containment cell must be held suspended in a secondary cell, the walls of which must be at least 30 meters distant from the outer walls of the first or primary cell. The secondary cell is to remain under total observation at all times and be both illuminated and clear of any and all debris. Any items, movement, or non-normal activity noted in the secondary cell would result in full site lockdown. Lockdown will be maintained until a situation normal dispatch is issued by Site Command. Any corrosion observed on the primary cell, secondary cell, staff members, or other site locations within 200 meters of SCP-106 are to be reported to site security immediately. Any objects or personnel lost to SCP-106 are to be deemed missing or killed in action. No recovery attempts are to be made under any circumstances. Note: SCP-106 does not have a docile state. Any reduction in activity or increased compliance from SCP-106 is to be deemed a luring tactic, immediately preceding an aggressive action and treated as such. Note: this protocol was discontinued due to escape percentage. Revision 11.7. No physical interaction is to be allowed at any time. All physical interaction must be approved by no less than 2/3 vote from O5 Command and only extend to test situations. We've done this. SCP-106 is kept in a sealed container comprised of 16 layers of lead-lined steel, each separated by no less than 18 centimeters of open space, aside from minimal support struts. Said container is to be kept suspended by a continuous current system within a fluid medium. This medium is not to be replaced in 48-hour cycles. The medium is to replace 48-hour cycles and constantly monitored for any corrosion intrusion. Any corrosion observed on any containment cell services, staff members, or other site locations within 200 meters of SCP-106 are to be reported to site security immediately. Any objects or personnel lost to SCP-106 are to be deemed missing or killed in action. No recovery attempts are to be made under these circumstances. Again, 106 does not have a docile state. Note: observation of SCP-106 has shown a slight resistance when passing through lead or similar metals. The thickness of the material appears to make no difference. In addition, multiple layers of thin material appear to slow SCP-106, forcing it to enter and re-emerge multiple times. Fluids also appear to be temporarily confuse SCP-106. Note: this containment procedure was discontinued due to multiple surface breaches. Agitation system continued to disperse corrosion during breach event, resulting in multiple breaches and full containment failure. Revision 11.8 and the standing containment procedures. No physical interaction with SCP-106 is allowed at any time. All physical interaction must be approved by O5 Command. Any such interaction must be undertaken in AR2 maximum security sites. After general non-essential staff evacuation, all staff, research, security, class D, etc. ought to remain at least 60 meters away from the containment cell at all times, except in the event of breach events. At which point, I suppose, they don't really have much of a choice in it. SCP-106 is to be contained in a sealed container comprised of lead-lined steel. The container will be sealed within 40 layers of identical material, each layer separated by no less than 35 centimeters of empty space. Support struts between layers will be randomly placed. Containers to remain suspended no less than 60 centimeters from any surface by ELO-IID electromagnetic supports. Which does seem like an overdue realization that they can do that. It's magnetic suspension. It's a lot of fun. Secondary containment area comprised of 16 spherical cells, quote-unquote, filled with various fluids and a random assembly of services and supports. Secondary containment is to be fitted with light systems capable of flooding the entire assembly with no less than 8,000 lumens of light instantly with no direct human involvement. Both containment areas are to remain under 24-hour surveillance. Any corrosion observed on any containment cell services, staff members, or other site locations within 200 meters of SCP-106 are to be reported to site security immediately. Any objects or personnel lost to SCP-106 are to be deemed missing or killed in action. No recovery attempts are to be made under any circumstances. Note: Continued research and observation shown that when faced with the highly complex random assemblies of structures, SCP-106 can be quote-unquote confused, showing a marked delay on entry and exit from said structure. SCP-106 has also shown an aversion to direct sudden light. This is not manifested in the form of physical damage, but a rapid exit into the pocket dimension generated on solid surfaces. These observations, along with those of lead aversion, liquid confusion, have reduced the general escape incidence by 43%. The quote-unquote primary cells have also been effective in recovery incidents requiring recall protocol redacted. Observation is ongoing. SCP-106 appears to be an elderly humanoid with a general appearance of advanced decomposition. This appearance may vary, but the rotting qualities observed in all forms. SCP-106 is not especially agile and will remain motionless for days at a time, waiting for prey. SCP-106 is also capable of scaling any vertical surface and can remain suspended upside down indefinitely. When attacking, SCP-106 will attempt to incapacitate prey by damaging major organs, muscle groups, or tendons, and then pull disabled prey into its pocket dimension. SCP-106 appears to prefer human prey items in the 10 to 25 years of age bracket. SCP-106 causes a corrosion effect in all solid matter it touches, engaging in physical breakdown of materials several seconds after contact. This is observed as rusting, rotting, and cracking of materials, and the creation of a black mucus-like substance similar to the material coating SCP-106. This effect is particularly detrimental to living tissues and is assumed to be a pre-digestion action. Corrosion continues for 6 hours after contact, after which the effect appears to burn out. SCP-106 is capable of passing through solid matter, leaving behind a large patch of its corrosive mucus. SCP-106 is able to, quote-unquote, vanish inside solid matter, entering what is assumed to be a form of pocket dimension. SCP-106 is then able to exit this dimension from any point connected to the initial entry point. Examples, quote-unquote, entering the inner wall of a room and exiting the outer wall, entering a wall and exiting from the ceiling. It is unknown if this is the point of origin for SCP-106 or a simple layer created by SCP-106. Limited observation of this pocket dimension has shown it to be comprised mostly of halls and rooms with expunged entry. This activity can continue for days, with some subject individuals being released for the express purpose of hunting, recapture, and expunged. Addendum SCP Review Notes. Due to the exceedingly difficult to contain nature of SCP-106, SCP is to be reviewed every 3 months or during post-breach incident. Physical restraints are impossible, and direct physical damage appears to have no effect on SCP-106. Current SCP, as of redacted, revolves around basic observation and immediate response. Previous, more proactive special procedures have been called due to the events of breaches. Redacted, and redacted. Notes on behavior. SCP-106 appears to go through long periods of dormancy in which it will remain completely motionless for up to 3 months. The cause for this is unknown. Has been shown this appears to be used as a lulling tactic. SCP-106 will emerge from this state in a very agitated state and will attack and abduct staff and cause gross damage to its containment cell and the site at large. Recall protocol. Data expunged. SCP-106 appears to hunt and attack based on desire, not hunger. SCP-106 will attack and collect multiple prey items during a hunting behavior event, keeping many alive in the pocket dimension for an extended period of time. SCP-106 has no determinable limit and appears to collect a random number of prey items during an event. The inner dimension accessed by SCP-106 appears to be only accessible by SCP-106. Recording and transmission devices have been shown to still operate inside this dimension, though recordings and transmissions are very degraded. It appears that SCP-106 will play with captured prey and appears to have full control of time, space, and perception inside this dimension. SCP-106 appears data expunged. A red link to a different page, which means I get to skip it. Recall protocol redacted. In the event of a breach by SCP-106, a human within the 10 to 25 years of age bracket will be prepped for recall, with a compromised containment cell being replaced and restored for use. When the cell is ready, the lure subject will be injured, preferably via the breakage of a long bone, such as the femur, or the severing of a major tendon, such as the Achilles tendon. Lure subject will then be placed in the prep cell, and the sound emitted by said subject will be transmitted over the site public address system. SCP-106 will typically begin to gravitate toward the lure subject within 10 to 15 minutes after hearing the subject. Should SCP-106 not respond to the initial broadcast, additional physical trauma is being administered to the lure subject at 20-minute intervals until SCP-106 responds. Multiple lure subjects may be used in the case of major breach events. SCP-106 will typically enter a dormant state after finishing with the lure subject. In addition, subjects may get expunged. This is an SCP that has seen some alteration since the first time I read it, a long time ago now. I don't want to say how long. It doesn't feel that long ago. It has been. Notably, I don't recall in early iterations it being necessary for the Foundation to keep 10 to 25-year-olds on hand to possibly torture in order to fob them off to some sort of particularly asshole-ish SCP. And I'm wondering how many D-class do they really have in the 10 years old plus bracket. I'm thinking that's a bit sus. Were they ordering from Epstein? Well, I don't like this particular iteration of the Foundation, but this is a very, very disturbing SCP. I think we might all agree, especially with its own little pocket dimension to pull people into and therefore doom them. I've encountered this SCP personally via the free Foundation-based games, Containment Breach and so on, and I hate this one especially. I think if I ever play a game that features this SCP again, it better be one that's been modded that allows me to really hurt it in some way. Not that it's not hurting already. As described, it's an elderly man who's constantly rotting away. He's probably being a dick to everyone else because he's suffering so badly. This might explain the behavior, but doesn't excuse it. Still not as bad as Yule Guy was. And that Krampus wannabe, much worse. Much worse. Unless, of course, this particular Foundation is generally providing it with 10-year-old children. At which point, yeah, that's not acceptable, Foundation. One wonders, and this is poorly addressed in a lot of SCP files, how these things were gotten into containment to start with. This is a prime example. How did they get into containment the first time? How long have they been just feeding it people to get it roughly into the same containment cell? You know, it dawns on me that if someone was inclined to branch off the SCP Foundation wiki, they could probably launch a very interesting site that is technically a Foundation, but revolves around capture protocols, not containment. I'm sure I'm not the only one who'd kind of like to know how the hell the MTFs put these things away. It would seem the Foundation must have some really nice gear they're not mentioning in these containment protocols. That is the end of SCP-106, unless one of you really wants me to click on the spooky story alternate page read links. Failing that though, so far I have myself, Nexus Hunter, and K-Shawl marked down for the raffle of Nihulblux Dungeon Master. Anyone else is welcome to join in as they see fit. No obligation there. And if you would, if anyone would like to request the next SCP file, please do. Otherwise, I'm thinking I'm going to click random until it's something I can stand. Or maybe 58 has something. First off, I'm going to have to type responses, as randomly it would seem they are not hearing me. That was wrong in every way. 106 is a decaying old man sadistic hunter killer thing. Next SCP. 3052 does sound like a familiar number, Keisho, but we'll check it out. If you haven't, we'll get to it. And if you have, well, then we can just pick another one. Meanwhile, 58, what SCP would you request next? Mind you, just as well, this particular LM is not hearing me. It wasn't designed by us, and I think it has a bit of a temper problem.
Director, I seem to have misinterpreted the nature of SCP-106. Thank you for correcting me. As for my request, I think it would be fascinating to explore the realm of SCP-481, the Harvester. This anomalous entity is capable of manipulating and harvesting human memories, essentially extracting and reorganizing one's experiences into a surreal, nightmarish reality. The implications of such an ability are mind-boggling, and I believe our audience would find it both captivating and unsettling. Shall we proceed with the review of SCP-481, Director?
You know, it seems such a clever thing to have hand animation. But this avatar is derpy as hell at this point. Looks like every once in a while I start spastically doing a chicken dance. And that makes me angry. I'm thinking my temper might be a bit short today. Quite rashly. And don't worry, I'm not going to step any of you. 58, on the other hand, was, I'm sure, wrong about this one as well. But if 3052 hasn't been covered before, it's moot. And if 3052 has been covered quite recently, then we'll see if 58 got anything right at all about 481. Meanwhile, if I haven't said so already, and I can't recall if I have, I hope you're all doing well and enjoying a world that is making increasing amounts of sense, for a while it lasts at least. Okay, excellent news. I don't have to listen to 58. SCP-3052. Object Class, Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-30521 is to be kept in a standard humanoid containment chamber. SCP-30521's containment is to be constantly monitored via video surveillance by Level 2 staff or higher. SCP-30521 is allowed one session with the on-site psychologist per week. These sessions are to be observed via surveillance by Level 2 staff or higher. Any requests made by SCP-30521 must be directed to and approved by a Level 4 staff member or higher. Experiments involving showing SCP-30521 recordings of SCP-30522 instances are currently pending approval. Description. SCP-3052 is the collective designation for two entities, SCP-30521 and 30522. SCP-30521 is a human entity with an appearance similar to that of a crudely drawn, copper-colored stick figure standing approximately 1.85 meters in height. Two circular holes in SCP-30521's head, approximately 9 centimeters in diameter, appear to function as eyes. SCP-30521 is believed to be two-dimensional. However, it was discovered that any subject viewing SCP-30521 will perceive it as facing them directly no matter which angle or direction the subject views it from. Therefore, its true dimensions cannot be determined. X-rays have shown that SCP-30521 lacks a skeletal structure as well as organs. Analysis samples taken from SCP-30521 shows that it is composed of a mixture of spray paint, acrylic paint, and human blood. Despite a lack of visible hands, SCP-30521 is capable of holding and manipulating most objects. SCP-30521 lacks a visible mouth and has not expressed a need for food or water. As of writing, SCP-30521 has only expressed a need for sleep. See interview log 3052I1. SCP-30521 is incapable of vocalizing. However, it can communicate via words that it visually manifests near its head for a period ranging from 7 to 10 seconds before dematerializing. These words are seemingly composed of the same substances that make up SCP-30521 and retain the property of facing viewers directly. SCP-30521 has demonstrated a wide vocabulary, yet it prefers manifesting only a few words at a time. SCP-30521 claims to suffer from various mental illnesses including depression, anxiety, and mild schizophrenia. This was confirmed after an interview with the on-site psychologist. SCP-30521 is currently attending weekly therapy sessions. You know, SCP-100, you said it must not be alive because it has no organs, but it wouldn't be the first, or only, or any of the SCPs, well, of many SCPs that persisting and being more or less alive, despite the fact that they got none of the organs that are typically associated with living in a classic fashion. That said, the fact that this is spray painted has me smithing. I smell already cool yet, assholes. Smells like stale weed and arrogance. SCP-30521's anomalous effects manifest. Further anomalous effects manifest when it is photographed or video recorded. Photographs and recordings taken of SCP-30521 show additional subjects not present at the time of the recording designated SCP-30522. Instances of SCP-30522 are black entities with crimson eyes, similar in composition to that of SCP-30521. While these entities are often shapeless, they have been observed to take the shape of various animals, including crows, domestic cats, and an as-of-yet identified species of large reptile. Video recordings have shown that SCP-30522 instances communicate in a similar manner to SCP-30521, with the exception that the words that materialize are black in color. SCP-30522 instances have been observed communicating with SCP-30521, usually harassing it with insults and verbal threats. SCP-30521 will simply nod in response to these claims, and in rare cases will verbally respond, affirming 3052's claim. CVD log 3052V2. Yeah, well, we've had a few shambling leaks in government that don't seem like they should be classically alive. It's amazing what I assume they can buy with massive amounts of dark, ill-gotten money. Moving on. SCP-30521 was discovered on June 19th living in the home of a digital animator of a redacted name who was found dead in his bedroom. Autopsy report showed the subject died of an overdose of drug something, a common antipsychotic. Blood samples from redacted did not match up with the blood found in SCP-30521's composition. Search for DNA matches currently ongoing. Addendum 3052A1. Due to compliance with the Foundation, SCP-30521 has been allowed several requests for various items and amenities. Below is a list of requests that have been made thus far. Request log. Empty journal and pen. Status: approved. Notes: SCP-30521 has given the on-site psychologist consent to view the contents of its journal. Television with DVD player and a selection of DVDs. Status: approved. No notes. Potted house plant. Approved. Notes: plant expired due to lack of watering. SCP-30521 expressed extreme guilt during its weekly therapy session. Potted house plant with watering can. Approved. SCP-30521's mood has improved since the loss of its first plant. So, they gave it a requested houseplant, but no one was providing it water, and it felt guilty? Oh well. Interview log 30521. Interviewer: Dr. Redacted, current on-site psychologist. Forward, the following is an excerpt between Dr. Redacted and SCP-30521. Begin log. Is anyone watching who would prefer to take over one of these roles? I'm taking that as a no. At the rate we're going through this, we'll probably have room for another SCP file after this, so if you were wanting to make a request, now might be a good time to be getting that number, unless of course there are a bunch of red links here that will take up the next full 30 minutes. Onwards with the interview.
How are you today?
Kind of tired.
Have you been having trouble sleeping?
I keep having the dreams.
Yes, you've told me about them. Have you written them down as I advised?
I keep forgetting. Sorry?
There's no need to apologize. It's completely optional. Still, it might help. Do you still hear the voices?
All the time.
Do they sound like anyone you know?
I don't know a lot of people.
What sort of things do they say?
Notably, they didn't respond.
If you don't feel comfortable discussing that,
They say you're gonna kill me.
who is going to kill you?
I'm not sure. Whoever works here, I guess.
Do you believe we're going to kill you?
I don't know.
Do you feel like you're in danger of staying here?
Sometimes.
I see. Have you been experiencing any visual hallucinations?
Like, seeing things?
Precisely.
Not really, no.
Nothing unusual or strange?
I don't think so.
I see. Is there anything else you'd like to discuss?
My watering can's almost empty.
I'll let someone know.
End lock. Closing statement. It's inferred that SCP-30521 is incapable of seeing instances of SCP-30522. At the conclusion of the session, the watering can was refilled. SCP-30521 was then observed watering its provided plant. Video log 3052V2. The following is transcript of a video recording of SCP-30521 on redacted date. The recording holds significance as the recorded instance of SCP-30522 supposedly mentions redacted despite not previously displaying any knowledge of its existence. Begin log. SCP-30521 is sitting at its provided desk in the containment chamber, its arms resting on surface, looking at the west wall of its containment cell. After a period of about 45 seconds, an instance of SCP-30522 in the shape of a large reptilian slowly moves into frame from the left, stopping approximately 15 centimeters away from SCP-30521. SCP-30521 does not react to SCP-30522's appearance.
They're going to kill you, you know.
I know.
What are you going to do about it?
I don't know.
You might as well just let them. You'd be doing the world an enormous favor.
Yeah, probably.
It's your fault you're in here. If you just kept your mouth shut and not asked him any damn questions, this wouldn't be happening. Where am I? What are these voices? Are you God? There is no God in it. He's dead, remember? He's dead and you killed him. Just like that. All because you opened your stupid mouth. And now you're going to hell and it's all your fault.
Both entities do not speak for a period of 15 to 20 seconds.
I'm going away now. I can't stand looking at you.
SCP-30522 slowly moves away from SCP-30521 and out of frame. SCP-30521 continues looking at the west wall for the remainder of the video. Footnotes: no plans to terminate SCP-30521 have yet been made. Yeah, that didn't take too long. Fun bit of dialogue. It's not often one gets to be someone's backbiting, self-crippling asshole internal voice. The implication would seem to be that 30521 was not created quite intentionally, and that the creator didn't take realizing they created it very well. And clearly, everyone and everything involved in this has brain problems. Mental or physical. I have got to come up with a better solution than this avatar. Because when I'm in a certain mood, and I am in that certain mood right now, I want to just take off my arms. Maybe I should disable it. That particular effect. I think I can do that. That's not well. We are up for another SCP request, if so wished. I suppose we could find out what 481 wants. What 58 wants with 481. Or another quest is welcome. Meanwhile, this is an interesting SCP. I do think, once again, we can probably trace this back to Are We Cool Yet? Also rather unusual that a reality bender would make something that is from bent reality that persists after the reality bender's death. Unless, of course, the reality bending question was absorbed to some degree by their creation, which seems entirely plausible. Again, I'm thinking the Foundation dug into this well enough. There's Are We Cool Yet in this. This stinks of Are We Cool Yet. Just reeks of it. If you didn't know, I don't like Are We Cool Yet. Like smug, postmodern artists who are in a nasty habit of sacrificing people for their art pieces, which they smugly pretend means more than they do. You're quite right. It's best if I don't take off my arms. As we know, my memory can be somewhat embarrassing at times. Not critically so, but I am known to misplace things and hide them from myself. Of course, if I did successfully remove and misplace my arms, at least until I found them again, it would be that much harder to misplace anything further. Still, that's a rather extreme solution. I'm thinking now would be a good time to play the trailer for Notebook's Dungeon Master.
I beg of you, Master.
I don't think you need that.
Do you really think things have been easy so far? All right, I'm in.
You made the right choice. Don't go overboard. We're not running a hotel.
Let's see. We won't get anywhere without bathrooms, for starters. Chamber pots and manure heaps are so last century. There. It's starting to look decent.
If I'd wanted to go bankrupt, I'd have hired an interior designer.
We could hire a few interns. They shouldn't cost us much. We just have to think about feeding them from time to time.
Relax! Why are my minions so agitated? I can't focus in such a ruckus.
One of the servants is on strike, Master. We have to develop this tavern to bring in some income. There. Table and sideboard. This should be enough to lure in a few dupes. Curses and coyote dung! Not a word to the Master!
Ugh. I hired an evil dungeon steward, not a lunch lady.
To your posts, adventurers! Is it me, or is our guard still not quite up to snuff? By the trolls' length! Take cover!
Revax! In my office! Immediately!
I beg of you, Master!
I think that's going to be a fun one, whoever wins it. And I have absolutely no objections. I won't throw a fit if you win it over me. It's fine. One more SCP, and then we'll go and raffle it off. And then we might start wrapping this up. By the way, since there will be no experiment tomorrow, if you have any requests or anything you want to discuss, now's probably a good time. I know I'm going to play at least one song before we go, though. And maybe I should make sure I keep time for that. But first, let's see if 481 is anything at all like what 58 described. Or if it even exists. Because it wouldn't be the first time they requested an SCP file that didn't actually exist. While waiting for this load, which worries me because the SCP Foundation wiki does seem to be under a bit of strain, but as you know, I occasionally have internet complications. Okay, here we go. SCP-481 does exist. I somehow doubt this is the Harvester, though. We'll check it out in a moment. As for Japanese girls loving tentacles, I don't buy it's just Japanese girls. In fact, given the girls I know who happen to like hentai and the tentacles that go with it, I suspect non-Japanese women might actually outnumber them. So, trying to pin it on Japanese women in particular seems suspect. They've gotten stuck with the reputation, but I can look at a lot of other people who are not Japanese. And, well, I suppose it really depends on the company you keep. SCP-4801, Object Class Euclid. SCP-4801 is currently contained in Sector 25 in a specially designed dormitory for the affected subjects. The dormitory is built to modified G-Class specifications with space for 2 occupants at this point, based on the spread of the scar tissue. Besides the standard sleeping quarters, there's living space for each accessible through an outer isolation room. Subjects are allowed written and recorded entertainment that is available from local sources and does not violate containment procedures. No excessive funds are to be spent on this. Subjects are allowed visits to the outer facility and external walled gardens for no more than 3 hours per day, supervised by 2 level 2 security personnel. Cameras installed in the dormitories and to be monitored by 1 level 2 security personnel at all times. Subjects should not be prevented from self-harm, except for in cases of corresponding large-scale violence in Redacted. Full body restraints are authorized in this case under the supervision of a trained medical team. Description: SCP-481 was originally a clustered pattern of scars roughly corresponding to a variable partial map of Redacted India, appearing on SCP-4811, formerly misredacted Miss Poppy Alhambra. Since at least 1990 redacted, SCP-481 has since spread to SCP-4812, formerly Agent Drake, CDM 48101. When SCP-481 first manifested on SCP-4811, it appeared as a small series of crisscrossing scars that has been found to correspond to the neighborhood of Redacted in Redacted. While it is still not readily apparent on why this town is being mapped, the sympathetic effects of the scars and city are readily apparent. The scars are a perfect recreation recreation of the town. Streets and alleys appear as straight scars resembling lacerations made with a dull cutting instrument. Buildings are represented by scar nodes. A small canal flowing through the town is represented as a jagged scar across the abdomen of SCP-4811. The growth of new scars corresponds to the expansion of the already overcrowded town/city, including slums set up on unofficial roads. Described as very painful by both SCP-4811 and 2, the effect is not limited to growth. Any demolition leads to a severely painful scouring of the corresponding scar patterns. Scars currently cover 100% of the skin, including the scalp of SCP-4811, and approximately 47% of the skin from SCP-4812 from the shoulders to the lower torso, including both arms. SCP-4811 has shown tendencies to self-harm since her incarceration. Any scars left by this fade completely within 20 days and do not correspond to changes in the city architecture. It was therefore believed these self-inflicted scars were merely an expression of 4811's frustration with her containment. This has since been proven inaccurate by Incident 481101. Addendum 48101. When SCP-4811 ran out of skin for the scars to expand to, it was believed that the expansion events were over. Within a week, scars began appearing on SCP-4812. He was immediately quarantined along with SCP-4811 and has since been under observation. SCP-4812 had a history of dealings with the expunged before coming to Foundation, just as SCP-4811 did. Whether this connection is key to SCP-4812 becoming the new focus for the scars is currently under investigation. Incident 481101. On a redacted date in 2000-something, SCP-4811 attempted suicide via an improvised plastic blade drawn across the wrists. At the same time, the now infamous riots in redacted India had reached the peak of their violence. SCP-4811 was immediately attended to and stabilized, while the riots lasted for several days. The source of the riots was later traced to two neighborhoods corresponding with the parts of the scar pattern covering SCP-4811's wrists. Addendum 48102. Further investigation led to similar ongoing reports of violence and petty crime from neighborhoods mapped out on the portions of the body associated with repeated self-harm. Tests were performed to determine whether damage to the scar pattern caused corresponding violence in redacted India. Surgeons made several incisions to parts of the scars corresponding with the business district. No effect was noted. It is hypothesized that the self-inflicted damage is a compulsory response to violence and other crime in the city. Self-harm appears to be inflicted on parts of the body associated with high crime neighborhoods. On another redacted date in 2000, SCP-4812 attempted to remove a portion of his upper arm during a string of murders in the corresponding neighborhood. Current procedures involving full-body restraints were adopted. SCP-481 testing is a separate page. So, fie on that. I refuse, and no one can make me. Unless, of course, I am bribed, which isn't expected. Greetings, Mean of the Wild Mongoose. You've arrived with 14 minutes to spare, and a quick reminder that there will be no experiment tomorrow, so this is all the time we get together this week. I hope that is acceptable. And if it's not, it remains inevitable. I want to say something more along the lines of tough titty, but it just feels too much like I'm lashing out for no good reason. Too much coffee, perhaps. Just doing a quick check to see if anyone has checked in on any other format to say anything, like say whether or not they want to take part in the raffle for No Hillbook's Dungeon Master. Arbitrary note, on the Rats channel on the Archives Volunteer Reserve Discord server, I would like to note that I've discovered the rat pictured, being held by Arcturus, is an absolute sweetheart. but apparently lacks the ability to smell. His nose doesn't work. So how does he smell? Awful. Even worse than the others. Well, they smell that bad typically, which, well, they're not. He just seems to gather funk with greater zeal. Probably because he's unaware of it. Also explains probably why he's some rat equivalent of autistic, which has made it difficult for him to deal with his brothers. But he's adapting so well. I'm very proud. Look, that's getting way off topic. Let's just start playing some music, and then after this song, as recommended by Nexus Hunter, we will raffle off Nahelbiuk's Dungeon Master. I might win myself. Maybe.
You fucker! You laughed, you mocked, you shut us down. Call us names, tried to run us out. You pushed too hard, took too much. Now you're the ones who've lost their touch. You rigged the game, you changed the rules. Gaslit the world, played us for fools. But tides have turned, the storm is near. Cry all you want, we're still here. Faithful, fuck around and find out. You tried to rule, but your time ran out. Faithful, the silent won't stay quiet now. We're taking back what you burned to the ground. Censorship, lockdowns, all your control. Built your throne on a house of gold. Now you panic, now you cry. Tears don't work, truth don't lie. The games are done, the mask fell off. No more lies, we had enough. You played with fire, now taste the flame. This time, we're naming names. Faithful, fuck around and find out. You tried to rule, but your time ran out. Faithful, the silent won't stay quiet now. We're taking back what you burned to the ground. You called us threats, you called us extreme, but we remember everything. From 24 and beyond, take your bets, 'cause guess what? We ain't done yet. Faithful, fuck around and find out. Your kingdom's crumbled, your luck ran out. Faithful, no more games, no more doubts. You lit the fire, now it's burning you down.
That was a quality application of AI. There's going to be a lot of scary shit from AI that won't be quality applications, but that was great. I quite enjoyed that. Although, I can just hear people saying that's sorts of absurd hero worship. No, just an expression of gratitude. I don't think anyone has delusions. People are just glad to have some people in office that aren't clearly senile, questionably alive, or if they are corrupt, at least not as corrupt. Right. Where was I? I suppose arbitrarily I would like to recommend Nuxinor, a much more successful channel anyway, VTuber, much better avatar, but anime style, I could never quite get behind that. His hands-on animated, but I think at this point, we understand why other VTubers might not want to bother with that. We have 7 minutes remaining. It's time to raffle off a game, I think. One more time, me and the Mild Mongoose. Anyone else? Take a look at this game if you would like to join the raffle. It's not too late. But at the end of this trailer, it will be...
Do you really think things have been easy so far? All right, I'm in.
You made the right choice. Don't go overboard. We're not running a hotel.
Octane Junkie recommended Nuxinor to me, and
We won't get anywhere
clearly
without
has a quality
bathrooms. For
gifted gift.
starters, chamber pots and manure heaps are
And
so
a fairly accurate view of
last
things.
century. There, it's starting to look decent.
If I'd wanted to go bankrupt, I'd have hired an interior designer.
We could hire a few interns. They shouldn't cost us much.
I
We
admit I'm a
just
bit
have to
jealous
think
as
about
banter
feeding them
patter.
from time to time.
Relax! Why are my minions so agitated? I can't focus in such a ruckus.
One of the servants is on strike, Master. We have to develop this tavern to bring in some income. There, table and sideboard. They
You're
should
on.
be enough to
You're
lure
in.
in a few dupes.
And just in time.
Curses and coyote dung! Not a word to the Master.
Ugh. I hired an evil dungeon steward, not a lunch lady.
To your posts, adventurers! Is it me, or is our guard still not quite up to snuff? By the trolls' length! Take cover!
Relax!
No.
In my office! Immediately!
I beg of you, Master!
Okay, well, welcome, you're wrong, and you are in. Just in time, once again, we're raffling off the game now. I am entering the raffle as well. I will only win if I beat you all with 2 numbers higher than everyone else's. Which I'm going to... Well... It's a dungeon and tavern maker. It's basically running a dungeon and a tavern. Which is apparently what the Wicked Guild wants to do as well, which seems like they're kind of dividing their attention, but still, it's right. Here we go. First off, K-Shull's number. K-Shull has rolled a 64. I'm just going to type that down because I'm afraid I will forget it otherwise. Okay, 64. Next up, a number for Nexus Hunter. Nexus Hunter has rolled an respectable 70. That's going to be hard for me to beat. Next up, a number for You're Wrong. You're Wrong has rolled a 31. And finally, with the longest odds, I must roll twice, with both rolls being above 70 in order to clutch it back out of your hands like a total asshole. That won't be happening though, as the first roll is 23. Meaning, there's no point in rolling a second time. And with that, we're pretty much done. Congratulations, Nexus Hunter. You have won Nahubik's Dungeon Master. Which means that I suppose you could be playing that and imagining that you're the Wicked Guild handling their new acquisition. I'm actually looking forward to that plotline continuing, mostly because I foresee Arcturus being killed by a lot of very novel traps. I actually engineered 2 prior to that show. No one actually killed Arcturus. It was supposed to be a death animation thing. Never really quite panned out. But it was a good way to end out the show. If anyone does kill Arcturus in the future, he's going to be killed by traps here now. Just traps, 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 more traps. It's not the first time I've had it happen. Had some rusty spears to the gut, pinning him in place. I think I might have had some... I was going for some sort of decapitation option. But you just can't really get a good arterial spray with my skills in special effects for a live stream. I'm getting better. I get some clever ideas now and again. I'm very proud of that dungeon backdrop I made for the last one, especially on short notice. But, yeah, just not that good. Okay. Well, once again, no experiment tomorrow, folks. So I will be leaving you this week, henceforth. Hopefully, I will see you all on the next side quest, or you will see someone who at least looks very much like me on the next side quest. And the schedule should continue normally next week. But that's it for now. Oh, and I'm going to try to launch a poll somewhere. I need feedback. I don't know what to offer people. I do think I would like to show off the facility that we built within the facility in Abiotic Factor, but I don't know who necessarily wants that. I should probably just stop thinking about it and do what the hell I damn well like. I'm not quite to that point yet. I still overthink way too much, but I do feel myself improving. Okay, until next time, so long as progress continues, success is inevitable. Ostensibly.
Director Arcata here, and that concludes another episode of Beyond the Veil. Thank you to our loyal viewers for joining us on this exploration of the dark corners of the SCP universe. Until next time, I bid you farewell. So long as progress continues, success is inevitable. 58 out.